Bulamanaka and good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for the delay. I had to drag myself out of bed this morning. Look, I want to also publicly echo the sentiments of your CEO regarding the turnaround that Housing Authority has actually made. In fact, probably in your history, you've never had a surplus of, $1.6 million. Oh, sorry, no, a surplus of $2.5 million actually. We put back about 1.6 million of that into providing the housing needs for ordinary Fijians. You would have heard in the budget, for which we received very, very positive feedback, that we've announced some very good packages for the private sector to actually get into housing. There are two areas that we are very much concerned about, in particular for ordinary Fijians. One is medical, and the other one is housing. And I think we need to make enormous strides in those areas. Medical in particular, as you know, as I keep on saying, if one of us in this room has a heart attack now, there's nobody in Fiji who can operate on you. There's nobody. There's no full-time heart surgeon in Fiji. So you either go to Australia, you go to New Zealand, you go to India, wherever the case, you can go to. And unfortunately, the reason why we are in this situation today, because it takes about 15 to 20 years to train a person to be a good heart surgeon. You don't just get somebody from FSM to cut you open and, fix up your heart. It takes 15 to 20 years to get a good heart surgeon. And that is, and fundamentally because of the lack of investment in human resources, that's why we're in that situation today. So in that area, we've obviously seen, we've pumped in another, $9 to $10 million more into housing, into hospitals and medicine. But we think also that we need to get private sector involvement in that, because they are the ones who have the ability to move things very quickly. And I think if you provide the incentives for them, that'll happen. Similarly with housing. One of the areas that we are very concerned about, of course, is housing, is because we still have too many people going to money lenders nowadays. I have seen footage of people on a payday around about 3 a.m. in the morning. If you go to an ATM machine, and I've actually seen the video footage, you'll have a couple of cars come up, a couple of people sometimes wearing beanies will turn up with this many ATM cards and one book with everybody's PIN number. And they are the money lenders which have people's ATM cards. So then the people then go during the day and queue up in the bank to see how much money is left in the account. And one of the fundamental reasons why that happens is because people don't have the ability to go to mainstream banks because they don't have any security. So home ownership is the best way forward in that respect. Building homes also creates a multiply effect in the economy. When you build a home, you need somebody to dig the foundation, you need somebody to lay the bricks, you need somebody, a plumber, you need somebody to paint the house. The whole multiply effect of home construction has an enormous impact. This is why also, as you know, that we've given some funding, also additional funding to Housing Authority, for example, for Mata Volivoli in Nandi, and we'll continue to provide the funding. But I'm also very keen to ensure that government continues to provide you with the support. We also, as you know, we're going to put in place a very overall sort of national housing policy in place. The policy is there, but to get all the different agencies to work together too. At the moment, Lands Department does something, local government does something, Housing Authority does something, Rural Maritime does something, so we need all coordinated, and that's very, very critical. But your organization specifically, obviously has a much bigger role to play. You're specifically created to provide housing, and I'm glad that you have got a CEO that you have today in the form of Josh, because I think we're seeing some discipline around some of the management structures. There's obviously still a lot more work to be done in that respect. Ultimately, the idea is that we get the best structure in place, the best people for the best positions, and the right positions, so everybody benefits. In that respect also, of course, as government, we're very, very concerned in respect of making sure that people get paid the right wages, we have the right structures in place. This is why we're carrying out the civil service reform. So similarly, in that vein, I'd like to announce that we have also approved, with your CEO obviously pushing for that too, the salary adjustment for all non-management staff, which starts all the way from the drivers all the way up to the team leaders. So the adjustment goes all the way back to 2011. So we've approved a payment of $369,774 for all of you. And then there's another adjustment that takes place from 1 November 2013 of $176,544. So that's for all of the non-management staff. You'll get your salaries now adjusted to at least be in alignment with what the market rates are currently paying. So this is from drivers, your secretaries, PAs, team leaders, your the clerical staff, the data entry operators, the customer relationship officers. All of you will get that adjustment, which is effective from this pay week.
Yes, it is.
It will be effective from this pay week. So of course, with the reduction in VAT from next year 1 Jan, you will save a lot more money. But ladies and gentlemen, I think it's very important for you to understand that you do play a very critical role. We are placing a lot of emphasis. We also have a philosophy, and this is why we're carrying out the various reforms. We want people to get paid the right wages, the right salary, because that's the way you retain people. That's how people become committed to their positions. But the organizations need to do well also. So don't think just because you're a driver or a data operator that you are in any way less to the CEO or less to whoever else there is, or a manager, because without you performing your specific function, they also won't be able to do their job. Of course, you have leaders on the top who need to drive it. They have a bigger responsibility to do that, and their jobs are more quicker to exit from than perhaps yours. So there's a much bigger call on him, and we want to make that call on him, but you all need to give him your support. It is very, very critical. We need to make a paradigm shift in the way that we do things in Fiji. Very critically, we need to do that. In the way we deliver service in the public service, this is why we're going through the reforms. We'll see some changes, quite a few changes next year. We're creating a new separate Ministry of Civil Service, which is going to be a much smaller organization compared to what it is today, the PSC. A number of changes are taking place, and we'd like you all to be part of the team and to be able to work together for us to be able to achieve, not just affordable housing for all Fijians, but also overall to improve the conditions in Fiji. There are a lot of positive things happening. I'm sure you don't want to be bored by all the things. I can sit here and speak to you for the next 2 hours and tell you all the specific things that have happened. But you will see the changes around yourself, and you'll see the momentum gather in the next 18 months or so. So thank you very much, Vinaka Wakaleu, for your contribution, for your service. We have now provided the salary adjustment. We will get that effective immediately from this week. And of course, the organization does well. Everybody produces what it's supposed to produce as an organization. Things obviously can only improve from there. So thank you once again. I'd like to acknowledge the CEO for his contribution too. We look forward to him providing, you providing assistance to him, but also for him to provide us with a number of new areas as to how we can improve the organization. Vinaka, thank you.
Yes.
There you go. Hang on. I'll just be on my knees. There you go. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.